Guys, and welcome to another episode of the Variety Views. I'm your host, the Variety Vendor, and I'm here to review Royal Rumble 2021. And what a great show that was! It was an amazing show. I would say it was a better Royal Rumble show than last year, but we'll get to the Royal Rumble match itself, the main event of the show. So we start off with the pre-show. And we have Asuka and Charlotte defending their tag team titles against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. The match was, your standard, typical Raw match, but they tried to continue the storyline a little bit. And you have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler win back their tag titles. And the way that it happened was Ric Flair distracted Charlotte long enough for Lacey Evans to come in, and her just going a little bit back and forth with Charlotte, and then punching her with a loaded woman's right. She had something in her hand, but you can tell. So and it's one of those things where I'm looking at it and I'm like, I would suspend my disbelief a little bit, but at the same time, she had something in her hand rather than wrapped around her hand. Wouldn't that make it much more devastating? Doesn't that hurt your hand if, you got something in your hand and I don't know, whatever. Wrestling logic. So then Nia Jax delivers a very, it's a very weak leg drop, onto Charlotte, and pins her 1, 2, 3. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax win back their tag titles. So right now I'm 1 for 1 at for my Royal Rumble predictions. Then we get to the opener of the match of the whole pay-per-view, and I did not expect this. I did not expect this whatsoever. Goldberg is your curtain jerker. Wow. Goldberg comes out. They do the promo package, the video package before the match with Drew McIntyre and Goldberg. They did somewhat of a good job in telling people what the storyline is all about, because I don't know what the hell is going on. Leading up to the match. And the thing is that when you try to explain it in your own mind, is like, this is what they're trying to do, it's actually way better than what it's presented. Because like in my mind I thought, like, when Drew said, like, fighting you would be like fighting with my dad, that's like, okay, maybe that's how much respect he has for him, just like he respects his own father. That's just my way of thinking, the way that I would like to think that is what it's about. But, and Goldberg being, doubting his own abilities at this stage of his career. So they have this match, and it was great. It was a great match, way better than expected. Probably the best match that Goldberg had since his match with Brock Lesnar. And I know that's not saying much, because he only wrestles like a couple times a year, maybe once or twice. And those times that we've seen him in, it's either him killing Dolph Ziggler or him, botching a suplex multiple times. And so we see this, in this match, he, it's just good back and forth. We start off before the match even started. Then Drew McIntyre gave him the Glasgow kiss, which is a headbutt, and then delivers a spear. Goldberg goes over the outside. Drew McIntyre and Goldberg go at it for a little bit, and Goldberg spears him through the barricade. They get back into the ring, and the ref is like asking Drew, can he have this match? And Drew's like, ring the damn bell. They have the match, Claymore. Good back and forth for like 2 minutes, and Drew wins at the end. Great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. This was a great match. However, one thing, just a nitpick, just a little nitpick. Goldberg delivering a jackhammer, it's not as good as it used to be. I know he gotten older, but, hey, maybe just retire the jackhammer. Just do the spear. The spear is much more devastating than the jackhammer, especially when it comes for Goldberg right now. He just doesn't have the same rotation as he used to. And it's kind of sad, if a newcomer, a new viewer is watching this and he's watching the video package and he's like seeing stuff from Goldberg from 25 years ago, because that's what WWE likes to do every time Goldberg has a match. Anytime a viewer sees this and he thinks of the stuff that's going on in WWE, it's like, oh my God, this guy is just awesome. He's just destroying people. And then you see his matches and it's like, it's not the same guy. So yeah, but the match itself was great. I thought it was great, and they didn't go long. It was what it needed to be. Just a Haas match, and it was great. I enjoyed it. And afterwards, Goldberg says, "You passed the test." So great, great. He moves on to something else. I like it. So I don't know what he goes for next. I wish that Goldberg is in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, if that's a thing. If that's a thing, then he kills a bunch of geeks and then wins the trophy. It's an easy win for him, and for him to get his heat back, so that, you can have something later on. Because after this, where does Goldberg go, really? Logically, where does he go? Does he wrestle somebody else? Does he wrestle a big name? I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. You don't feel like, oh yeah, Goldberg is going to have a match. So even going into this, nobody really cared. So after that, we have Sasha Banks defending her women's championship against Carmella. This was okay. Not as good as their TLC match. I got to see that late last week, and that match was really good. I thought Carmella was improving a lot, but in this match, I don't know, for some reason it felt like Carmella was trying really, really hard. And it's not, anytime I see effort, I cannot help but commend it. I'm like, okay, this is great. You're trying your hardest, that's great. But sometimes there's such a thing as overdoing it. And Carmella was trying really hard. She almost killed herself in a suicide dive. And, the ending of the match was anticlimactic. It just goes for, which kind of is like what happens later on the show, speaking of anticlimactic. And the match itself was fine. It was okay. Nothing much to say about it. You could have really taken this match off the show and it wouldn't have made a difference. So, it was fine. It was a fine match. Sasha wins at the end with her bank statement, and it was the way that she did it was out of nowhere. She just pulled Carmella, put her in a bank statement, and Carmella started tapping. Okay. Where does Carmella go from here? I don't know. I really don't. After that, we got the 30-woman Royal Rumble match, and this was awesome. This was freaking awesome. This was an awesome match. We start off, I want to say, with Bayley and Bianca Belair. Later on, we have Billie Kay, and Billie Kay, wow. Billie Kay was freaking awesome. She was entertaining. She was funny. She was not the kind of WWE funny, but really, really funny. There are many moments in this match where I was just, I had a huge smile on my face, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Billie Kay comes in. She right away goes to the announcer's table. She's wearing the headset, and it's just funny. Gets into the ring at one point, and she's trying to pick her spots. Then she gets her ass beat, and then she just rolls on the outside, goes back into commentary, and she's like, yep. So she just continues calling the match, and it's like, what a magnificent maneuver from Rhea Ripley. It's just freaking awesome. Every time somebody comes out, she goes out with her portfolio, and she's like, hey, come on, let's team up. And just her facial expressions and The way that she moves is just so freaking hilarious. And then she does form some sort of partnership with Jillian Hall. And you know what? Some people might say like, Jillian Hall, what a waste of a Rumble entrant. But seriously, she was one of the better used returns, because whenever you have a legend return, legend return, and it's usually just like, hey, remember me? This is me doing shit. This is me, delivering that move that you never cared for. And it's just them coming back for nostalgia purposes. But with Jillian Hall, sure, it was nostalgic seeing her come out and pretty much sing the lyrics to Sunny's theme, and it was fine. It was okay. It was fun seeing her back. Without that weird growth that she used to have. But what I liked more about this is that they incorporated her into a storyline. What's going on in the show? What's going on in this match? And it worked. So that's why I'm like, that's one of the better returns. Later on, we have Return of Victoria. And, whenever I would see these women, I would see like women like Molly Holly, Victoria, Alita, Trish Stratus, Miss Jackie, any of those women, I'm like, you know what? As much as people like to talk about the women's revolution, in the early 2000s, there were some pretty kick-ass women. And I remember the matches being super hot, where the fans were just on their feet and clapping and just like being into it. So, and when you get to see like women like Ivory, even Gail Kim was a part of the women's division at that time. They had great women. Sure, most times they didn't know how to use them, but they had a great crop of superstars at that time, and it goes to show, thank you, Finlay, and happy birthday, Finlay. Michael Cole wouldn't shut the hell up about people's birthdays. It's Giant Gonzalez's birthday. It's Finlay's birthday. Okay. Fun fact, but, it just, all right, you could save that for the freaking pre-show or something. Who wants to talk about Giant Gonzalez during like a Rumble match, a women's Rumble match? So the match was great. I really enjoyed it. You had shenanigans from R-Truth. R-Truth came out, and it was fun. It was just fun. It was just a fun match. And then it goes down to the wire with the last three being Charlotte, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. And Charlotte gets double teamed and gets thrown out, and then Charlotte has a huge smile on her face. So it's like, do you know something that we don't? Maybe she has a plan. She has a plan of what's going to happen next. Maybe at Elimination Chamber or Fastlane, she's going to face the winner, and she's going to be like, hey, put up your shot on the line. Maybe that's what she had in mind. I don't know. I don't know what was the point of that huge smile on her face. So we see Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. Maybe she knew the ending of the match, and then she's like, I'm happy for you, and that's why she had the huge smile on her face. I don't know. I really don't. So it goes down to the wire between Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, and I'm rooting for Rhea Ripley because Bianca looked great in the match. So, even if she gets thrown out, she still, looks strong, and she's really young, and she can still work her way up to the top. So, and Rhea and Bianca went back and forth until finally Bianca Belair is your winner. And I was like, oh man, why didn't Rhea win? Rhea should have won. It would have been a great way to introduce her to the main roster. And then Bianca Belair cut a promo. And I was like, you can't fake that, man. You can't fake that emotion. You can't fake that emotion where she just sounded like a little kid that went to Disneyland for the first time, and it just choked up, crying, and it's just like not knowing what to do. It's like, and it's just, man, like you can't fake that. It reminded me so much of when Apollo Crews won the U.S. Championship for the first time last year. And that is a promo that I will not forget, where he's just choked up and he's just, and that you can't fake that. That is awesome. That is awesome. And just for that moment alone, I'm like, you know what? Good for Bianca. Bianca deserves it. She always deserved it, but I was just thinking like, hey, it would have been a better story if you would build her up. But you know what? Who cares? Who cares about when somebody's ready or not? When you see like somebody like that and exuding emotion, Hogan in 84, when he won his first WWF championship, you could have, an old school mind would have been like, no, you build him up and stuff like that. But no, in his second match in WWF, he won the WWF title. So it's like, strike while the iron is hot. They did the Chronicle, the WWE Chronicle last week with Bianca Belair. They've been having a lot of interviews with her, so strike while the iron is hot, fine. You know what? Okay. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it whatsoever. Great win. Great stuff. I love this. 5 freaking stars. This match gets 5 freaking stars. I love it. It starts off with entertainment, goes in the middle, and it turns into like a free-for-all, and at the end, you have a great crop of women that any one of them could have won, and great. I love it. I absolutely love it. This was a perfect Rumble. I can't say anything bad about it. I can't. So, after that, we have Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship in a last man standing match. And this match was great. Absolutely great. This was balls to the wall action from start to almost finish, and it was great. The emotion, the drama, the stakes. It felt like an important match. Felt like an important match for both men. The trash talking between both men, the crazy moments. Kevin Owens just putting his body on the line, just getting thrown off, high structures into tables and jumping off of forklifts. All that great stuff. This was a highlight reel of crazy stunts. Then we get to the end. And Roman Reigns tries to handcuff Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens hits the stunner and then handcuffs Roman Reigns into a lighting rig. And, Roman low blows Kevin Owens long enough so Kevin Owens can, so that he can create some space between him and Kevin Owens. Paul Heyman comes in, he tries to unlock the handcuffs. And he just sits down like a freaking plumber. And he's trying, and he's trying, and he's trying, and he's trying. And it's not working. It's not working. It went for like 2 minutes, and it felt like a long 2 minutes. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? When are you going to get the frickin', the thing to break the chain, something, anything, bring a saw, whatever, just save this, you're losing precious minutes. And it just went on, and like, the ref, he counts to 5 and then he stops. Kevin Owens is kneeling on like the other side, like right near the barricade, and he's just like, grabbing his balls, and he's just looking at Roman Reigns, and I'm like, can you be any more fake? Can you be any more fake? Please, somebody run out. Apollo Crews, Jey Uso, whoever, Rikishi, anybody come out and save this. Nobody came out. It was just Roman Reigns. And finally, after just an eternity of cringiness, Roman Reigns gets out of his handcuffs, And before Kevin Owens does anything, Roman Reigns jumps on top of him and delivers the guillotine, and he just, wrenches in and wrenches in and wrenches in. And he wrenches in onto Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens passes out. My God, what a horrible ending. What a horrible, horrible ending. That, eye for an eye, which one had a worse ending? I would say this, because at least that was funny. At least that was entertaining. Say what you want about it, but at least it was entertaining. This was cringe. This was absolute cringe. I'm just like, oh my God, can you make anybody look any worse than what you did to Kevin Owens? I'm sorry. I don't like using this word, but we'll see what happens next. Maybe they can save it, but right now, Kevin Owens is buried. I'm sorry, but I think Kevin Owens is buried. Because, say what you want, what they've done with other superstars, but like with Kevin Owens, with this story leading up to this match, he lost like a freaking geek at the end. He lost. It was bad. It was bad. You could have had somebody come out, I said in my predictions video that Kevin Owens, needs this win. But if he would have lost, in my opinion, if he would lose, screw you finish. You screw him. You have somebody else come out. You have somebody attack him. Anything. Jey Uso, Adam Pearce, somebody should have come out and screwed Kevin Owens instead of Kevin Owens looking like a freaking geek. This was a great match up until the end. This was like having a great flight, being on a great airline, and you get your food and you're in first class and it's great. You're enjoying yourself. This is great. And then the plane crashes. That's what it was. So, great match, terrible, terrible ending. And it ruined the match for me. Anytime I would think of that match, I would think of the horrible ending. I wouldn't think of any other moment in that match. Sure, there were crazy moments, but it's overshadowed. It's overshadowed by that terrible ending. Kevin Owens, I'm sorry, but you're buried. You're buried. But knowing Kevin Owens' talents, I know that he can get back on top, hopefully soon, because this was terrible. And now we get to the main event. 30-man Royal Rumble. It was already announced that Edge and Randy Orton are gonna start the match, and the match was going well. And it was great. Randy Orton is great. Randy Orton, is great when he wants to be great. But sometimes he just doesn't care. And I love the part where he just runs wild. Him, Mustafa Ali, and Sami Zayn are triple teaming Edge. And then at one point, Randy Orton just looks at Sami Zayn. He's like, yeah. And Sami Zayn's like, yeah, come on, yeah. And he's getting hyped. And Randy Orton's like, I like your fire. I like your fire. I love your fire. And then he turns him around and gives him an RKO. Then he gives Mustafa Ali an RKO. Just, runs wild. It was great. Then we have the return of Christian. Christian returns, and it was a great, great moment. It was an awesome moment. We have the return of Carlito. Carlito came back, and he looked freaking jacked. He looked awesome. And I was like, dude, you know what? Vince, give him another run. Give him another run in WWE. I want to see more Carlito in WWE. I want to see him wrestle even more. I don't want to see the Carlito's Cabana, because we already have way too many talk shows in WWE programming. But bring him back. Bring him back. Let him have a run. He was so good. He was so good. So I'm like, you know what? Just give him another run. He's so great. And you see all these when you see these old performers come back, and they're not even like top tier. When you see Christian and Carlito come back and Hurricane, you're like, man, no wonder today's roster sucks, because when you have guys like that come back and they look better than today's roster, I don't know. 2004, mid 2004, like mid 2003, them coming back and they look better. Mid Carters from that era looking better than today's roster, looking like stars. I don't know. So Christian comes back and he runs wild a little bit, and it was a great moment. And it's saddening. It's saddening that it's not in front of fans, because this was a great moment of Christian coming back. I don't know if he's coming back, to have more matches. I guarantee you it's not going to be full time, but is he going to have more matches? I hope so. But not to the point where it's like overkill, where he's wrestling every week, wrestling on main event. No, I'd like to see him when the storyline calls for it. But beyond that, you don't really need to do much with Christian. And Christian is smart. He's a smart guy. He knew when to walk away, and kept his stock high. So whenever he returns, it means something. So I love that. And we get to the end, and we have Braun Strowman, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and Edge, right? AJ Styles gets eliminated. We have a little bit of back and forth. Then Daniel Bryan gets eliminated. Who got eliminated then? Man, it's a fuzzy memory, man. Fuzzy memory. Trying to remember. Yeah, Braun Strowman was the last to get eliminated. That's what I recall. And Seth Rollins as well was in there, and he looked great. He looked great in this match. Actually, Seth Rollins was the one that eliminated Daniel Bryan, I should say. Yeah, he's the one. He curb stomped Daniel Bryan and then threw Daniel Bryan out, and then finally, Braun Strowman was thrown out, and so Edge is your new winner. Now, at that point, it was like, hey, it was anybody's ball game. It could have been Seth Rollins, it could have been Braun Strowman, it could have been Daniel Bryan, it could have been Edge. So you had a good crop of guys to end the match, somewhat. Because, when they got eliminated, Edge is, celebrating. Randy Orton came out of nowhere, RKO'd Edge, and he was about to throw Edge, and it was, freaking nail-biting. It's like, oh, my God. But Edge, turned it around and threw Randy Orton out. Edge is your new winner, starting from number 1, going all the way till the end. Edge is your winner of the 2021 Royal Rumble match. Great stuff. Great stuff. Awesome match. Awesome match. Not as good as last year's, but it was a great match. Really damn close. Really damn close in being that. So, that's pretty much it. A great show. Watched it twice. Gonna watch it a third time later on, because it's so great. It's a great show. Not really a bad match on the show. Everything delivered, and some things over-delivered, like that women's Rumble match. I thought that was that was the best match on the show. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got to say about that. This was great. This was freaking great. And watching all the Rumbles leading up to this, I was like, how are they going to, how are they going to outdo the other Rumbles? And they did. They in some cases they did. This is definitely in the top 10 best Royal Rumble pay-per-views of all time. So, kudos to WWE. Just goes to show you, when they want to be good, they can be freaking great. But when they want to be bad, man, that freaking hurts. It physically hurts. While you're watching this, you feel the toll on you. So, That's all I gotta say right now. And with that being said, like, comment, and subscribe. Ding that bell icon for future episodes on the Variety Vendor channel. And check out my next video. We talk about something else. Till then, take care, guys.